Things not to say to someone who's mixed race. Whether you've noticed or not, I am mixed race. I'm of dual heritage, English and Chinese. But there's certain things that people always tend to ask you, even before they know your name. So often I get, and I'm sure a lot of other mixed race people get, is, where are you from? And I often say, Sheffield, South Yorkshire. And then they go, no, but where are you from? And just to wind them up a little bit, I say, well, I live in Wakefield now. And then I get, well, where are your parents from? And then eventually they get the information that they want, knowing that I've got Chinese family in Malaysia. But then you get the added cliches, such as, oh, well, you must be good at karate. Well, karate's Japanese anyway, not Chinese or Malaysian. But sadly, I'm not very good at karate. But I'm all right as a belly dancer. Then another question I get asked a lot is, how long have you lived here? Do you mean this house? This city? Well, this city I've moved here. I moved to Wakefield 3-4 years ago. But then I get, no, how long have you been in this country for? And it's like, well, since I came out my mother's vagina, that's when I kind of came into this country. And they're like, well, how did you happen then? What happened? And so they like to know the whole story of my family and my nan travelling over to China and living in Malaysia for a little bit. And then when people do find out that I'm mixed race, it's, well, you don't look Chinese, or you don't look English, or so you're not fully white, you're not fully yellow, so what are you? And then often I try and explain, and people like to think in kind of fractions and percentages. So are you a half, a quarter, a fifth, and where's your dad from? And I often think, well, no, I haven't got a Chinese arm, a Malaysian foot, and an English stomach. I'm just me. And then another one you always get, oh, you look like somebody I know. You're not related to that Ken Hom, are you? The famous Chinese chef. If only. Sadly, I'm not. And then the most popular one I get is, oh, you look like Mylene Klass. Are you related to her? And I've got to say, I do love Mylene Klass, because when she became famous on Pop Stars and with her opera singing, I suddenly became in fashion because I'm the same kind of mix as her. So I do love a bit of Mylene Klass because she made me popular at school. So I went from being the weird looking mixed race girl to suddenly the hot girl who looks like Mylene Klass. And then another one, I bet you're good at, and then insert cliched hobby here, whether that be I'm good at taking photographs because of my Chinese genes, or I'm good at speaking lots of different languages because I'm mixed race. I have actually studied lots of languages, but that's nothing to do with my race. It was the school that I went to. Then after all this conversation about my heritage, without them even knowing my name, I get, well, you're good at English. Well, I'd hope so, since I've been brought up and lived in this country all my life, and I'm an English person. That's my nationality. But thanks for the compliment anyway. And actually, I'm not that good at English. After teaching a lot of foreign kids abroad, my English really isn't very good. And then there's another one. When are you going home? So people may ask me that question anywhere. And I often think, well, I'm going Sheffield soon, or I'm going back to Wakefield. Sadly, if I did go home to China, I wouldn't know the language, I wouldn't know anyone there, And I'm sure I'd probably get similar questions there about going back home to England. That is the thing with being mixed race. You kind of feel a bit like you don't actually belong anywhere because you're a mix. And still today, people still call you half caste or mixed breed. Please just use mixed race or dual heritage. It's not that hard. There's something I really don't like the sound of being half caste or a mixed breed. I am who I am. I'm a full person as far as I know. I might be slightly weird, but that's nothing to do with my heritage. Then there's love interests. So I often get men saying, oh, I do love a mixed race girl. Or I'm sure men probably get the same from women going, oh, I love a mixed race guy. And well, yes, mixed race is definitely part of my identity, but it doesn't mean that I'm an attractive person. I love being mixed race, don't get me wrong. But there's a weird thing with certain men that I know, and it's all about conquering a mixed race girl. But they tend to be really gross men, unfortunately. None of the really cool, attractive guys are that bothered about where you actually come from. So what to say to somebody who's mixed race? Well, if it's the first time you met, I suggest saying, hello, what's your name? How are you? Do you know, the general basic chatter, rather than going straight in for the kill of, where are you from? So if you're mixed race like me, what do you get fed up of hearing? Please comment below or find me on Facebook at Mama May Blog.